So Moshe knew where Mount Sinai was. He had been there just a year before when he was shepherding the flock. And he went Achar Hamidbar, he went beyond the wilderness to Har HaElohim, to the mountain of God, and there God spoke to him from a bush. And now they've arrived, as the Torah describes, in the wilderness of Sinai, and they find themselves encamped around this mountain, which Moshe knows well. He doesn't need there to be a convent named Santa Catarina, St. Catherine's, which was an attempt by ancient early Christians to make a claim of a mountain somewhere in the middle of the Sinai desert and say that was Mount Sinai. And I imagine some of you listening to this might have made a trek there when Israel still had control of the Sinai desert, and made your way up to what they told you was Mount Sinai, with the uncomfortable requirement, as I'm told, because I've never been there myself, that there are doorways that are purposely low, so that you must always bow before Christian symbols as you make your way up onto our Jewish site of Mount Sinai. And maybe could be that is Mount Sinai, but in all likelihood it's not. We know where most of our Jewish sites of import are throughout Eretz Yisrael. We know where Mount Moriah is. We know where Hebron and Kiryat Arba are. We know Shechem, where that is, where those mountains are that define it well. All the sites, whether we know where everybody's burial places, that we don't know. But those places we can identify, unquestionably so, the places in around Eretz Yisrael that are significant and holy. Mount Sinai, on the other hand, is a place that we cannot identify, and I think that's for a reason. Because if we indeed said this is the place where the Torah was given, we would make the presumption that the Torah can only be experienced at the foot of mountain or at the top of that mountain. And God didn't want it that way. And that's part of the discussion even about identifying the exact day of Matan Torah. Was it the 5th, was it the 6th or the 7th of Sivan? Somewhat unclear. And that's because every place is a day of Torah and receiving the Torah. And every place is a place where Torah can be experienced. We tend to associate our Shavuos experiences with our shul. The past 2 years we've had awesome programming that led from Shabbat afternoon all the way late into the evening, where we had over 150 people at a Shavuos night program for our shul. That's an amazing number. It's an amazing number. And we experienced Shavuos associated with the Hebrew Institute. But that would be a mistake if we determine and conclude that Shavuos is centered in any place, the Torah is centered in any place, or in any moment in time. The Torah is something that we can grab hold of, grasp, and experience, and study, and appreciate, and create at any stage of our lives, in any place we find ourselves. And this year we'll find ourselves in our homes, and that's where the richness of Shavuos is meant to be experienced this year. We have asked you to consider participating in a siyum. I hope that you have signed up. If not, please take a look at the sign-up sheet. And even if you're not going to do that, take a chapter in parts of Tanakh that we've set aside to be studied over Shavuos and then celebrated together on Sunday morning. Make sure that there is some rich, powerful Torah experience happening. Text study, topical reflection, important conversations about God and Israel and the Jewish people and yourselves and your neshamas. That will be the way Shavuos is meant to be experienced this year. You can identify the place. It's called your home. You can identify the time and date it's called now. And may we each experience Zman Matan Toratenu and Makom Matan Toratenu, the time and the location of the giving of the Torah and of receiving the Torah in our homes with people that are surround us, or even if we're on our own, with the books and teachings that we have received and we can continue to create, each of us as Jews. May this be a Zman Matan Toratenu that you will never forget, not because you'll say it was rotten, but you'll say it was awesome. Let this be that awesome day.